All right, good afternoon, folks. Bill Bartholomew here, downtown, right outside of the Rhode Island State House. I wanted to give you a little bit of a picture of what's developing here downtown. National Guard troops have mobilized themselves on the steps of the State House. I was just on my way out of the governor's daily COVID press conference and encountered a striker vehicle and a member of the National Guard with an AK-47 who had blocked the roadway so something could be done. I'm not sure exactly. I went back and parked my van. I'm now here outside of the State House. I just want to give you a little bit of a picture here. This is about 2.5 hours before the scheduled start of today's Black Lives Matter rally. Just a little bit of a picture of what's going on here. As you can see, military-style vehicles parked on the north steps of the State House. There's a couple of dozen what appear to be National Guards persons with fully automatic rifles, bulletproof vests, and fatigues on the north side here. I'm going to make my way to the front steps now. You'll notice the barricades in front of the Rhode Island State House. These were here earlier this morning. They were placed in front on the south lawn of the State House. Moments ago, Governor Raimondo announced that she's in fact going to have those barricades removed by 4:30. But again, as I just showed you, several dozen National Guardsmen with and Steve Alquist over here. They're moving the barricades. Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Steve Alquist, Uprise, Rhode Island, my colleague. Okay, we're heading out to right now the south lawn of the State House. Again, like I said, I can report at least 24 National Guards personnel on the north side, 2 military-style vehicles. I can also report that as I was departing the governor's daily press conference at the Veterans Auditorium, I encountered a striker Humvee and a National Guardsman with an AK-47 assault rifle in the middle of the intersection at Francis Street by the Providence Place Mall. Here I am, making my way now to the front of the State House, where a barricade had been erected earlier today. Governor Raimondo ordering that barricade removed. And it looks like they have done just that, opening up the State House for today's Black Lives Matter rally, which is scheduled to begin around 4:30. Protesters are anticipated to make their way from multiple locations to the State House steps. And I'm just going to give you a picture of what we're seeing right now. It looks like about a dozen members of the National Guard with assault rifles have replaced those barricades. Now, here's the gentleman I encountered earlier. Folks, this is Providence, Rhode Island, United States of America. Military-style vehicles patrolling downtown Providence. Armed soldiers in the middle of the roadway directing traffic. There's the Humvee, and there's Providence Place security. Boy. So I'll give you a picture right now of what we're seeing here. Brian Amaral, the Providence Journal, one of the finest reporters for that organization, making his way up. And I'm making my way now up the south lawn here. I was on my way home to take a break. Now you can see the barricade is removed, and I'm approaching dozens of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, actually not, probably about a dozen visible National Guards persons. So the barricade's removed, the State House steps open. However, the National Guard here on the steps of the State House, and you would imagine up there as well, out of sight. Men and women of the Rhode Island National Guard here, military police, cladding themselves in body armor atop the State House steps. More members of the National Guard along with Capitol Police. And like I said, folks, just a few moments ago, their presence is here Yes, the governor would be the person ultimately, along with General Callahan of the National Guard, who would determine this response. So in total, I'd say probably a few dozen members of the National Guard here right now. So that's the scene at the Rhode Island State House. Like I said, the barricades have been removed. Those barricades were there when I arrived for the governor's COVID-19 press conference just about an hour and a half ago. I also noticed them earlier today. Actually, the first person who reported, I believe, was Ian Donis, my colleague, Ian Donis from Rhode Island Public Radio, better known as the Publix Radio these days. An eerie scene here, a spooky scene, to say the least, as the National Guard prepares to secure the State House. And you can see right now, this man right here, he is not guarding cheesecake. That is for damn sure. More members of the military police, more military-style vehicles descending upon downtown Providence right now here, shortly after 2 o'clock. Just a few short hours away. So if you're just tuning in right now, folks, if you're just tuning in right now, I'm here at the Rhode Island State House. Dozens of members of the Rhode Island National Guard, along with military-style vehicles here surrounding the State House, okay? And I'll show you the images here outside of the Providence Place Mall. A coordinated effort between the Providence Place security officers there in yellow and the Rhode Island National Guard, it appears. And if you're just tuning in, the barricades which were here blockading, let me show you that. These barricades extended all the way across the South Lawn up until just a few moments ago. Governor Raimondo ordering those barricades removed. Okay, she ordered those barricades removed about an hour ago during the COVID-19 press briefing. Now members of the National Guard, military police, they just put their armored protective equipment on, bulletproof vests, face shields, and so forth. They have now replaced the physical barricades. Aaron Janik, is he not defending cheesecake, though? Hey, that's the big question of the day, right? The Cheesecake Factory. And folks, we're not even within 2 hours of the scheduled start of today's rally. There are people who are already making their way downtown right now, and there are other state organizations involved in this operation so far. We're seeing the Department of Transportation here. Likely they are responsible for the insertion of the barricades, and oftentimes DOT coordinates with municipal and state agencies to close down roadways and things of that sort. So this is a multilateral effort. I've got to show you this as well before I sign off for the moment. I got to show you this. Parking downtown, and this is, I asked the governor about this just about a half hour ago. Almost all of the parking meters that I could find downtown have Providence police signage indicating no parking. So I asked the governor where folks should park. She suggested taking the bus or parking on the outskirts of the city limits. An eerie scene here, folks, in downtown Providence. Whew. Eerie scene. All right, we have team coverage of today's Black Lives Matter rally scheduled to begin in a couple hours. Getting going a little early here today, though, because I cannot picture in my lifetime a moment like this, in which the National Guard, to the extent that we see Kind of at a loss for words. Kind of at a loss for words here. One more loop around for those of you who are just tuning in. If you are just tuning in, if you're scrolling through, dozens of National Guards men and women, many of whom appear to be carrying automatic weapons, have descended upon the Rhode Island State House. Right now, sort of in a casual mode, you hear laughter and joking amongst the troops. And here comes Steve Alquist again, ladies and gentlemen, Uprise, Rhode Island's legendary founder. Steve Alquist, you heard it there first, folks.
Yeah, it's bullshit what's going on here today. This is bullshit. This is not America. This is freaking police state shit going on here.
Well, you got to wonder what it's going to, first of all, what information do they have that we don't? Second of all, what is the correlation between a peaceful rally and this kind of presence, right?
I'm sorry, we had fascists, literal fascists come to the state, and we didn't have a response like this at all. Literally fascists coming here to have a rally, and the police were just, whatever. We have a couple of black youth of people coming down here to say, hey, we don't like the way we're policed, the way we're criminalized and brutalized. And what do? We can respond with this, with literal military. Sorry, this is very upsetting. Thanks for all you do.
Steve Alquist, ladies and gentlemen, Uprise, Rhode Island. Steve referencing the Proud Boys rally, one of the scarier moments in my Rhode Island media career, which was, I guess, was that last year? A white supremacist nationalist group that held their own rally here at the State House. And Steve alluding to the fact that we didn't have this kind of National Guard presence. We had a few snipers who had their weapons trained on the crowd, but not the type of response that we're seeing today. So to summarize, if you're just tuning in, because I know the nature of the beast here on Facebook, you're scrolling through, we got National Guards, men and women, dozens of them in body armor that have descended upon the Rhode Island State House, military-style vehicles with military-style weapons here at the Rhode Island State House. And just a few moments ago, I asked Governor Raimondo, hey, are you going to be attending this rally today? I also asked Department of Administration Director Brett Smiley and Rhode Island Department of Health Director Dr. Nicole Alexander Scott, hey, are you going to be attending this rally? Raimondo, no. Alexander Scott and Smiley, yes. And I'm not sure if I can or should get any closer. I think I could. There you have it. They've got riot gear. So I guess the big question is, do they have information that we don't? Because as far as we've been told, the media and obviously all of you out there, we're talking about peaceful protests today. What is this preparation for? I mean, I've heard from some of you out there that have written to me or sent me tips and so on and so forth, tweets and whatever, that there is more to today's rally. What's going on, man? How you doing? And like I said, I just can't picture a situation like this ever in my life. I remember coming back to Rhode Island from Brooklyn during the 2010 floods, and the National Guard had parts of Route 95 blocked off. That was in a more of an aid capacity, right? Natural disaster response capacity. An eerie scene, folks. Regardless of your political positions, your take on big, small government, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't a policy question. You know what? I asked Governor Raimondo, half hour ago, maximum. Thinking back to when she had the shield, you know, at her inauguration, she has a shield that's placed around her neck. And I asked if that made her essentially the commander of the police in the Ocean State. And she said she's not a law enforcement officer, but I asked her, can she tell the National Guard, the state police, to stand down, to not use rubber bullets, to not use tear gas? It's unclear if she has that authority on her own. What is clear today is that the response that is being deployed is significant. And from my own perspective and experience, unprecedented. All right, live from the Rhode Island State House in downtown Providence. Bill Bartholomew for the Bartholomew Town Podcast. We'll see you around 4 o'clock. Team coverage of today's rally. Folks, we're going to be here all night. If I have to go home and charge my phone, I'll come back. We'll be here. Be safe out there. Be smart if you're coming to the rally. Be smart. Remember the fight on the table. What this is all about. Rhode Island, folks. We'll see you in a bit.